Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me Vulcan. Today I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Tough Jungle, and I think this is actually a 3v3 map, but we are obviously playing it 4 versus 4, and I am going to be joined by Bubblebox and Silver Raptor again, and also Thoth, who is a friend of Bubblebox's. Now this game is to show off the Redfor deck that I actually made in the Redfor deck building video, and hopefully you can find all the information about that in the description. If you go to that video, I would suggest you watch it before you watch this one if you really want to understand the deck. So yeah, that I would definitely recommend you check that out. If not, feel free to just watch the gameplay and see what happens. Obviously in this particular game I'm going to be hitting the right side of this map. Silver's going to be capturing Alpha and Charlie and pushing up to Hotel with me. Then we're going to have Thoth in the middle and Bubblebox on the left side. So this map in general, it's quite a large map and in my opinion quite balanced. Generally what happens is there'll be a skirmish between Hotel and Charlie near this mountain, because that's where both players can safely, or both sides can safely get their units in order to engage. In the center you're a bit open, so normally one side or the other will get control of it entirely, which I think is fair. You know, you can fight over it if you want to, but it leaves you very, very vulnerable to airstrikes, and these hedgerows don't really do much against recon. So yeah, you can use these buildings. Maybe each side will hide a command unit behind these sets of buildings on either side, or generally it goes one way or the other, like I said. Now on the left side, the engagement happens between Foxtrot and Delta. I don't normally see anything happening between Delta and India, but as you can see, this is a reinforcement point. You can see the land reinforcement point there being shown by that arrow. Once Bubblebox captures Delta, it's very hard for the blue side to take Delta, because they have to overextend so much in order to push him out of there. It's the same for us on the other side. They get a reinforcement point at Hotel, and therefore us engaging them from Gulf and from Charlie is pretty hard. So let's set it to my point of view, and we can talk about what kind of units I'm bringing in at the start of the game. So I've got some OT-64Cs, these have got some standard infantry. We've got some HQ-7s, these are basically Crotals, the 4 infrared missiles on those. We've got the Mi-17 here with command infantry. Now that was initially going to go to Charlie, I think, but I think that might change its plan when Silver sends his own CV there. We do have a couple of BMP-2Cs coming up. These have some more standard infantry, and we've got some ZTZ-85-2s, probably my favourite medium tank on the Redfor side. And the reason I think they're just amazing is because they do have quite high rate of fire, but also their accuracy is 50% with 16 AP power for 65 points. So yeah, I've got 4 of those coming up. All my units are basically fast moving towards Gulf, and you can see actually this Mi-17 is going to be landing a command unit in Gulf early on. We are going to be playing Total Destruction in this game, so there isn't the need to capture sectors in order to win the game, but obviously it does give you more reinforcement points. So over on the right we spotted some helicopters. This is a big issue for us. You can see Silver Raptor does have an Mi-24V here with 8 Igla missiles, which can take care of that. He also has an Mi-25S24 here, which can use its Yak-B gun in order to engage those aircraft. He also has an Mi-24K. Normally you would see the Akula in its place, but because that's prototype and we're using overall Redfor decks, he's got the Mi-24K out in this one. I'm sending over my Mi-17 as sort of a little bait, waste any infrared AA that they are using. You can see a Black Hawk sneaks down here. Silver Raptor's sort of changed his plans a little bit. And over on this side, A Lux A1 has been sent up. Top terrorist there using the Lux in order to recon my push on this side. He spots my OT-64s with the Lekka Pehota. The Lekka Pehota weren't in range to use their heat missiles. So there we have it, my Mi-17 getting right in the middle of the UH-1Hs, trying to do a little bit of damage. Now it's really up to Silver Raptor to sort that out. So Silver Raptor was saying to me at the time that he is going to be using his Mi-25 to engage these helicopters first, and the reason he's going to do that is because it's actually his cheapest helicopter. It only costs 75 points, whereas his Mi-24K and the Mi-24V cost over 100. So even though that gets shot down, the enemy are using Super Cobras, and Super Cobras only have like 2 ammunition. So you can see here I'm also helping out. I'm using my Mi-17 to soak up any missiles that this Super Cobra might have had left. It didn't, and just got taken out by the autocannon. But that's better than that's better being safe than sorry, and it stops Silver Raptor's own helicopters being taken out. So he's brought up a second Mi-24V here, and he is going to try and shoot down as many of these Pumas as he can as soon as possible. I've also brought over a MiG-29. That's going to be going for this Super Cobra if it can. Unfortunately, the MiG-29 is a very fast aircraft, so it's not going to have much chance to fire its infrared missiles at those helicopters. Mi-24Vs, though, using up all their ammunition, are going to be forced to get into closer range in order to take out the Pumas. SES squads have been dropped, though, and you can see that that does mean the end for one of Silver Raptor's Mi-24Vs. Now, if he just charges that, it's not too much of a big deal. The Mi-24K here with its 80mm rocket should be able to finish that off nicely, and that does indeed happen. MiG-29 failing again to do anything helpful, but the Super Cobra is only on 1 health now, so that makes it easy for the Mi-24V to finish off with its main gun if it can get in range. Super Cobra obviously does have the Vulcan minigun, which, you know, is awesome because it's named after me. No, I'm kidding. But, there we go. The Mi-24V nearly got shot down itself there. If that had got stunned, that would have been doomed. But here we have the Sechongsu squad that was landed is going to be taken out by these Mi-24s with the numerous rocket pods that they have. So there we go, final hit, and we're going to move up to my push. So I've had pretty much no resistance so far. You can see I've got a BMP-2C here. That's actually going to go back and try and help defend the BMD-2. I've got my 2 ZTZs watching this sort of run through here through the forest. That's why they're sat at this range. That's about 2,000 meters. I'm trying to keep them at maximum range. I've got my BMP-2 at closer range so it can use its autocannon to almost one-shot enemy unsuspecting units. Phantom 2 is brought in to napalm my OT-64Cs as they are starting to make a lot of progress. I'm basically rushing these to the back side of the sector as quickly as possible to try and spot the enemy's command vehicle. My Lekka Pehota have made the run from one side to the other very, very quickly and are closing in on the town. These OT-64Cs do have their own HGM, so they're not completely useless, and they only cost 15 points. So yeah, they're worth using to try and attack. They also have AP power on their machine gun, 1 AP power, so they can actually take out some command units, especially if they're unarmored. So I've also got a ZTZ coming up here, and I've got my HQ7 a bit farther back. My micro was a bit lacking. Obviously the HQ7 though, I have to be careful with this because it is wheeled and therefore can get stuck. I've got my command infantry sort of in an unsuspecting position. It's tempting to put them in these compounds, but then the enemy can literally just test for that and might get a lucky hit. So I just keep it back in an unsuspecting position. And then I've got a unit of Motorschützen further up. These are just to cover any approaches from the far side of the river. Also to scout for any helicopters. So here you can see a Lux has spotted my Mi-17. That Mi-17 is actually carrying command infantry in order to contest Hotel. And this is incredibly important. In order to take over Hotel, because it's a reinforcement sector, I'm going to have to countercap. And by countercapping, what that will do is allow me to prevent any immediate reinforcements to the sector. So getting that up as soon as possible is extremely important. I've got some ZTZs heading to the high ground. You can actually get tanks up here. And in the meantime, my Lekkerpotter are engaging with some Jaeger squads. And the OT-64Cs are taking care of whatever this is, the Leopard 1A4. So ZTZ's getting into position. Got my command unit coming in. These two Lekkerpotter are catching up after dealing with the looks at the bottom side there. It was very lucky that I had that held back. Otherwise this Mi-17 might have been shot down and I would have lost a command unit, which would have been horrific this early in the game. BMP-3 though, from Thoth, being used to attack top terrorist, and these TPZ Fuchs, the accurate HGMs there of the BMP-3, shouldn't have any trouble really picking those off, although they aren't really worthy targets for those HGMs. I've also got some Motorstrelke 90 here, trying to run toward the town. Now Thoth here, he split up his Motorstrelke, and this is another quite good move. It's actually a very good move. If you split up your infantry, they don't share the same morale. So in this case, you can see these Motorstrelke that were under fire by the enemy squad were the ones to become shaken. But the Motorstrelke beside them were calm because they weren't being fired at, because they weren't part of the same squad. So keeping your infantry split up like that is very important. Normally you would do it in like twos because that works. But you can do it like as squads of one as well. So I brought in a napalm strike here. You can see I picked up a Jaeger kill, the 10 points popping up there. That's the one thing that I do kind of like about destruction, is that obviously the kills come up as points on the map when you get them, so you can see that you've actually confirmed the kill. It is quite easy to see in Conquest once you know how to spot it. When a unit blows up and you are out of line of sight, there is a tiny like spark, and if you see it, then obviously you can confirm that that has been taken out. I've got my ZTZ-85 here engaging with the Leopard 1A4. Not going to be much of an issue for my tank, and also the OT-64 here. MVP takes it out with the Malyutka HGM that it has, and that thing only has 35% accuracy, so quite a lucky shot. Lekkerpotter encroaching on the Jaegers from both sides. We're going to take out those two squads very, very easily. And now my ZTZ's being hit by some HGMs in the town, so I'm going to have to be forced to push that back before it gets hit again. I'm trying to get it behind the tree line here just before it gets sniped, but unfortunately I am unable to do that. So my ZTZs up here are in the right position to fire down into the town, as you can see. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The TPZ Fuchs there, easy targets. Trying to dodge this artillery with my Lekkerpotter. And sometimes these ZTZs can actually fire into the town as well, if they get the right angle onto some of these buildings. So here we have it. I've managed to counter Cap Hotel to stop any reinforcements. Unfortunately though, Phantom 2 has other ideas, and I'm forced to run away with the command unit there to stop that dying from the burning. Motorstrelke still causing issues for the enemy against the Jaegers there. Silver Raptors moved out some recon on the right, these couple Formosa squads and a couple Scott 2AMs that were carrying those, and they're going to be our recon on the right from now on. And I've also got a HQ7 here, that's going to be covering from any helicopter flanks. Motorschützen now approaching these Jaegers, and this is exactly the reason why Jaegers are incredibly strong units. So for 10 points you get a 40% accurate assault rifle and a 40% accurate MG3, and the MG3 is just awesome because it has 461 rounds per minute. Obviously that doesn't matter when you napalm the crap out of them, but either way they're still a good squad. Motorschützen held their ground as long as they had to before that napalm strike came down. And that is another trick you can use. If you engage units, the enemy normally won't retreat as quickly. They'll sit there and engage you, especially if they have a favorable position. So, for example, if I wanted to attack these Jaegers here that are in this compound with the Moatschützen, I would run them towards them, stand them out in the open, drop bombs, and then push the Moatschützen in. Because if they are engaged, often the enemy won't retreat, you know? They might retreat if they see the bombs, you know, just generically dodge your bombing strike, which does happen, especially with better players. They will pretty much always dodge your bombing strikes if they see them coming. But in that case, what you would normally do is bomb the building behind, so that as they try and dodge, they actually move their squads into that building. So you preempt their dodge, basically. So one of my Lego Pehota squads does get taken out. It reveals itself on the edge of the town, takes a ton of supported fire from the enemies. This ZTZ here, the wonderful thing about this position up here is you get this like nice flank onto the town, or nice high ground over the town, and also some great cover, because this is dense forest, as you can see it coming up under my mouse cursor there. That describes the type of cover that you're getting in that position, and dense cover gives you some great stealth bonus. So the ZTZs there actually go back into stealth very, very quickly. I'm using my Mi-17s here to wipe out a Jaeger squad. They have 122mm rockets. One reason I love to bring in my command units with them is they can do so much damage. Mi-17 there, glorious helicopter with that armament. And now these damaged Moatschützen that initially engaged the Jaegers in the forest here are moving up to take this town. Phantom 2 coming up does get shot down by the MiG-29M of Silver Raptor. That's going to affect Silver Raptor's Pchongsu there. And a second Phantom 2 coming in now is going to land some napalm right on top of my Moatschützen. I managed to actually get them in the sector, so they dodged the napalm themselves, but I am forced to now push my BMP-2s around the left side of the town. My MiG-29 912A coming in, landing a nice bombing strike, putting some napalm right on top of the light rifleman and rifleman squads. Will make the engagement a lot easier against my Moatschützen, because the enemy squads will be panicked. And panicked does reduce the effectiveness of your squad, so be wary of your morale, especially in tank engagements. I think panicked actually reduces your rate of fire quite significantly. So here I'm dodging what I thought was explosive mortar artillery, but instead I actually make my Moatschützen commit suicide by putting them in the same sector as Navy SEALs. Here I've got my BMP-2s trying to take out a couple of these Fuchs before they drop out their Jaegers. They initially had these Moatschützen in them, and now they've moved into the town, so the BMP-2s can be used as fire support, and they are very good in that role. Navy SEALs here, being caught out in the open, are going to take a ton of damage from the autocannons. So great job there. Obviously the Seahawk with its Hellfire missile is going to make short work of the BMP-2s. Now I really need to stop these light riflemen being resupplied, so I'm going to try and engage them with these Moatschützen as quickly as possible. And by doing that, what it will do is it will put them in combat, and therefore they will stop getting resupplied by the Super Chinook here. Now with my Moatschützen entering the same sector as the Jaegers, that's going to do a ton of damage to them. They are also covered by smoke, so all this fire support that the enemies actually had, they kind of killed themselves by putting smoke on their own sector. And even these light riflemen now being fired down upon by the ZTZ with the odd shot. And with that, we basically take control of Hotel. Controlling this town is incredibly important for the blue side. An Aardvark coming in there. This isn't the one with 3 1,000kg bombs. It's only got smaller bombs. MiG-25 BM there coming in with Seed, taking out an enemy radar AA unit. And I also bring in a napalm bomber, and it does actually hit the enemy's command unit, and it tells me it's there because they move it, thinking that it will be damaged. So I generally know it's in this position now, but I can't be sure directly where it is. Moat Schutzen making short work of the Panzer Grenadiers alongside the Bachongsu. And with Moat Schutzen in a defensive position, you know, they're pretty much unbeatable in my opinion. Moat Schutzen are just like the staple regular infantry for Redfor. And now Thoth has been saving a lot of points apparently. He's going to go for a huge push with his spare BMP3s and other APCs. He's also got a T-64 in the mix and a couple of Strela 10Ms for anti-air. Those are going to be killing off a couple of OH-58CSs. But this longbow is going to be having fun, sniping all these valuable units, and the Seahawk too. Those Hellfire missiles are going to be doing tons of damage unless the enemy helicopters do get in range of these Strela 10Ms. Now the great thing about the Strela 10M is it does have the same amount of accuracy as it does stabilizer, which means it's just as accurate on the move as it is stationary, and using fast move towards enemy helicopters like this is going to mean that it's going to do a lot of damage. So a Peace Rhine does come in, it gets a kill onto some units. Aardvark comes in for a bombing strike but can't quite get the bombs off as soon as it is needed. This longbow though still firing on these units. That thing must have a ton of kills right now. I managed to rush forward as an Mi-25 S-24 here and actually kill off the CV. Unfortunately I missed showing you that. I had a MiG-29 coming in just to be safe. And with that done, well, I can pretty much move up and secure this sector. I can also bring in reinforcements now from Hotel because I already have this command unit here. That's the other benefit of counter-capping sectors, because you're always prepared to capture it straight away. I've got a couple of reinforcements down here. I kind of forget about them because we're winning the game very convincingly at the moment, especially considering Thoth has managed to push all the way into their home sector. If we manage to kill the command unit in Kilo, basically what that means is they can no longer bring in reinforcements and we win the game. In the meantime as well, Bubblebox has been doing a stunning job on the left side of the map, taking out the player in Foxtrot and now pushing towards Juliet. So we've got them covered on all sides. A nice air engagement coming in here. F-16C Block 52 shoots down one of our aircraft and is going to get away with that. But with there still being these BTRD robots in the sector, we're soon going to find the command unit in Kilo. HQ7 being moved up by myself is going to take out one of the BO-105s. PTUR Conquers squad's going to try and take out this KPZ-70 Kyler. The robots also having their own Fagot missiles are going to be taking pot shots too. And ideally this KPZ Kyler would be targeting at the Conquers because it can pretty much one-shot those. And over here you can see some transport helicopters. I'm trying to use the HQ7 to shoot those down. And the B5 there came in and destroyed an enemy command vehicle. So Kilo they can no longer reinforce from. The enemies are slowly surrendering in the game. And victory is ours. So there you have it. After 21 minutes and 45 seconds, we are victorious. It was quite a short game, to be honest, but I thought it was interesting. A couple of interesting tactics, really. We had the push around the right side of the map early on. It was lucky we spotted it. It was my Mi-17 that I actually sent to the right initially. I spotted the Hueys flying around on the right side. And that helicopter flank could have done a lot of damage, but fortunately we did have the Mi-24Vs with the 8 Igloo missiles to take care of all those helicopters. So that works out pretty well. Also, we had Bubble on the left, managing to break through there, so that worked out well. And myself using the high ground and a lot of napalm planes when there wasn't much AA, we managed to secure our own reinforcement sector near the enemies. So another good thing that happened there. Overall, it was a pretty interesting game. Mainly played the game in order to show off the units, and I think we did that pretty well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it anyway. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.